Good morning, Story Trading VIPs. We got an action-packed week. A lot of things going on, a lot of exciting things going on. Going to be a lot of volatility this week. Before we get into the major indices, let's just start with some news on Apple and Meta, I guess, and then we'll get look at the indices real quick. So, Apple production of iPhone 14 being slowed down due to production issues out of China. So, man, I don't know, man. They keep saying demand is great. Demand is great. And then, I don't know, maybe some production issues. But look at this chart 176 going down the critical area here. This is like an M pattern, opposite of a bullish W pattern. And I still think here that the target's got to be around 112 and rising, wherever that 200-week moving average is. Okay, so that's the story with Apple, and that's going to weigh on the QQQ. But on the flip side, you have Meta, Facebook, with a nice sentiment over here because news is they're going to be having some layoffs over at Meta platforms, and sometimes that can be a catalyst to turn a stock around if the company's being mismanaged, if that's the view on Wall Street, when they see, hey, they're now getting costs under reins, maybe that'll be a trigger for a turnaround. You can see the stock's been down a lot, but here's a problem with Meta. I mean, fundamentally, it looks cheap. Looking back, trailing figures, PE ratio 8.66. You can see that there. But no fundamental analyst in the world can tell you whether this is going to be a good deal or a bad deal, right? 5 years from now, were you supposed to buy at 93 or not? That's not a fundamental call. I'm sorry. This is really a sentiment call. This is a qualitative analysis of their product market fit and assessment on management. And are they going to be able to turn around the company? Is their product going to have a fit in 4 or 5 years? That's the story here. I think it's moving on sentiment up 3%. But whether this is good for the long term, you got to make your own qualitative analysis of Mark Zuckerberg and their products, Facebook, Instagram, and how they're going to be managing that company. That PE really, to me, means nothing. That rear PE, the forward PE, probably a little bit higher at this point. But in any case, that's Apple and Meta going in two opposite directions, and you can see net the impact that has on SPY QQ. It's up QQQ. So it looks like we are right now in a bear market rally. We have some resistance here right at the 50 DMA. Now we have two major events this week, which is going to determine if this bear market rally has legs or we're going to go back down to the lows. And those obviously know is the election tomorrow. We get the results coming in late tomorrow morning. Who has control of the House or the Senate? Particularly the Senate will be a little bit harder. It may take a couple days to find out who's control of the Senate. But the results of that election, whenever they come in, could have an impact on the market, could have a sentiment impact on the market. Typically, when the economy is bad and the opposite party takes power, you see a big spike in the markets. But I'm not sure fundamentally if Republicans can do anything to help inflation. I don't really think there is much. So I'm not sure. We may just get a sentiment move. But then more importantly, Thursday, we have CPI numbers. So that's really going to be the story. You may have some wild volatility and sentiment-fueled moves because of the election, but then you get the CPI Thursday. Really look at the core CPI. We learned from last CPI. The headline doesn't mean much. It's really the core CPI, and that'll tell the story of which direction this market's going to go. I also want to say energy, green energy sector, be careful of that. If Republicans win, which it's probably got to be priced in at this point. I mean, most models are saying Republicans are going to win, but I guess if it's a bigger win or if they also take the Senate or whatever it is, then green energy stocks may face sentiment headwinds. So be aware of that. Now, going back to individual stocks up here, man, did we ever nail BTU last week? Why is it up this morning? Well, it was great. We spent that time. Remember this? I went through the whole ups and downs. Why did the stock go up? Why did it go down? We talked about all of this. And I actually correlated conference call comments. I was listening to the conference call and I correlated with the stock prices to see if I can glean what investors care about. And it was obvious to me that there was a correlation between conversation about this merger with Coronado, this merger with Coronado. When the analysts were hearing that that's still on, the stocks really started dropping there during that conference call. So that showed me that the street really doesn't want this merger. Well, what do we get? Lo and behold, the merger's called off this morning, and now you're seeing the stock gapping up to resistance here at 28.60 or maybe a little bit above 28.60. So really good news for BTU. Now, I do have some long-term shares in my IRA, but as far as trading position, we've been playing this by shorting puts on this. So very happy with that short put position. So you can see here we have support at $24 at the 20 DMA, but I really have to note that the BTU is extremely volatile and it doesn't hold these major moving averages like very loyally. At the 50 DMA seems to have a really good track record, by the way. The 50-week MA. Yeah, that 50-week moving average. Let me just check here. Yeah, that 50, the red line, the 50-week moving average, that really is adhering to. But the other moving averages doesn't adhere to it so well. So I don't know. Like, what are you going to do here if you're not in yet? Maybe you can sell some puts up here. Say, hey, it's a higher floor price. Maybe I can still sell the puts even though the stock is up today. Or maybe you assume the volatility will continue and you wait for a spike down to either get in or sell the puts. But in any case, if you're looking for like a solid company with dividends and buybacks and stuff like that in the call space, I think Arch is better. ARCH. This is more, I think, of a trading vehicle because of the crazy volatility it has, but definitely good news on BTU, gapping it up right around the resistance level. So it's going to be interesting to see if with time, I mean, I don't think we're going to be challenging the 52-week highs here at $33. I don't think that's imminent. So maybe we can get an opportunity if we're not in it to get rejected right where we are here on pre-market at around 28.50 and get in on a pullback or sell puts on a pullback. So that's what I'm looking at over there. A couple important news items got to mention this morning. Okay, first of all, Elon Musk, Twitter, has been talking more and more about features that can really compete with YouTube, long form video. Keep an eye on that. I think that's something that could weigh negatively on the sentiment for RUM. So you got to watch out for that. The other thing that we're seeing this morning is DWAC is up 25%. So you're seeing that pre-market correlation. Why is DWAC up? Because Trump yesterday basically said, he's going to be running for president. Not official yet, but it's probably going to be announced shortly after the midterms. I think there's a rumor that's going to be next Monday. So DWAC is up on that, but this is just purely like stay away because DWAC, even if you believe that Truth Social has like a chance to make great money and work into its implied market capitalization, I'm not sure I believe that. But even if you do believe that, DWAC is likely not even to close with Truth Social. What a move over here. What is happening? Just right now, we're getting a huge spike. It's very interesting. Hey, I mean, if you want to trade it, if you're good at this kind of volatility with DWAC, I'm scared of DWAC. I don't do DWAC because I don't believe in the fundamentals of DWAC. So that's why I avoid it. But, as far as a trade, if you're a great day trader and you can handle the intraday volatility, go for it. But it gives a little bit of a sentiment tailwind to Rumble, RUM. So that's great. The other one it can give a tailwind to, which I still own, is AIAD. I got into this the other week when I introduced it to you guys, reintroduced it. So maybe I can get out. Obviously, that really didn't work out. So it's possible we see a big spike in volume on AIAD this morning because of what's going on in DWAC, and that'll give me an opportunity to exit. Wow, this is crazy. No, these prices are not the actual prices. Now, hold on. You see this often with TD. I think these are late prints right now. Let's see the bid ask. Let's see the bid ask on this. I think that's a late print. Okay, I think these are late prints from early this morning coming in because the stock was up 70% this morning in the early pre-market session. I think that's what we're seeing now. But in any case, that's going to capture some eyes and attention. So we had some news with CCJ doing a deal with a China nuclear company for their uranium and no terms disclosed. Okay, but that's interesting on many levels. I don't know what the market's going to make out of it. You can see some good in that, some bad in that. Very interesting. But uranium, I'm just bullish on that long term. So just holding that, not making any trades. Now, APRN, I want to note the headline here. I'm not in this, but look at this. Where's the headline? Okay. Okay, the headline I'm looking for is here. Blue Apron stock tumbles toward a record low after wider than expected loss, uncertainty of funding. That's going to be the key. This uncertainty of funding is going to be what's driving and what has driven already a lot of risk assets to be down 70, 80, 90%. And it's what's going to cause a lot of risk assets to go bankrupt in this current cycle. So whether it's APRN or Peloton or Carvana, there's going to be dozens and dozens of companies that are no longer going to exist or going to be bought in bankruptcy or bought really on the cheap in some kind of merger. So be aware of that. I'm staying away from APRN. All right. Want to know the THS has been on my watch list as a food agriculture company, and it's down in pre-market this morning on very low volume. And I don't think this, I think there's a possibility this is not going to be representative of really the earnings this morning and what's going to happen in regular session. Now, I don't know this company well, caveat. I'm just reading into the earnings release, okay? And it looks like the net EPS was a negative, and I think that's what's causing it to go down because the adjusted EPS very strong. This is like a generic food company. They make generic labels for food, but their sequential quarterly guidance looks extremely, extremely good. Not only that, that net EPS had something to do with a transaction, which I didn't have a chance to get in the weeds, but there was a one-time transaction here, which is resulting in like $500 million of debt being paid off. And their interest expense is going to be reduced. They're actually going to start earning interest on some bonds or something on notes. You have to look at that. But the guidance also, the quality, not only the numerical guidance, the quantitative guidance for Q4, very strong sequentially, but also the commentary, the qualitative guidance, very, very bullish. Saying, they're not seeing any slowdown and everything is really great and honky-dory. And, this is one that's interesting to look at if there's like any stocks in this kind of environment that are going to be good for long-term holds. It's agriculture, energy, aerospace, nuclear. We know about this, right? Gold and minerals. We've been talking about that for a long time. The new FANG stocks, and this stock falls into that category. So worth researching. Treehouse Foods, THS. All right. Just give me XXII on watch because earnings are tomorrow, and the CEO Mish said expect all kinds of news catalysts on or before or right after earnings. So looking at XXII. Clearfield earnings. Man, I was trying to clarify the earnings date. I keep forgetting. I thought it was this week, but I looked in the StoryTrading app. I couldn't find it in the TD app. So in our StoryTrading app, it said it's next week or November 18th, I believe, which is next week, right? Yeah, like late next week. So anyway, I have that on watch. I'm trying to pick some. I did sell puts on this late Friday. Selling puts, I was approaching that 50 DMA near $100. You also have the 20-week MA at around $99. So maybe you can pick up some more or sell more puts on that as it drops. ADM, I still like this food company. It's pulling back a little bit. Now, be aware, if we get a bear market rally, that's going to be really good for the stocks that have been beaten down, technology stocks, risk assets. And the stocks that have done well, that are more solid, like these agriculture names, may actually not do as well in a bear market rally. So if we do get a bear market rally here this week or a continuation of it, don't be surprised. We may have to have some patience to see the highs and eventually head towards my target of 105 on ADM. TGB, there's that copper play that had earnings that look really good. Copper was also up very sharply on Friday, which may have had something to do with this move. But 120 is their support level, which I showed you on Friday. Where was it? It was right here. You can see that the high of the week from last week, 120, and it's trying to hold that support right now. And the next was 130 right here at this candle. 130 and over here 130 to 134 kind of your next resistance. And then over a longer term swing period, can we get to 150 or so, that 50 declining DMA? We'll see. Okay, so we'll see how that plays out, but that may be something I'm looking for a pop to 130 to scalp some of my shares that I picked up on Friday. I do have some long-term shares in addition to that. Okay, look at this. TLT's up. Interesting. Well, okay, SPY and QQ are catching up. So TLT, the bonds were stronger this morning than the equity market, which was a tell. We've been noticing that that's a tell. So maybe we're going to be in for a good day. You can see RK up 0.7%, doing better than SPY QQQ. Have to watch a TLT. The chart pattern doesn't look great, to be honest with you, but we'll see if that can recover and stay green. So that's bonds, and you can see UUP is very interesting to watch. It had wild volatility last week. This is the U.S. dollar, and the U.S. dollar looks like it may be breaking, although it had a false breakdown over here on October 26th, but this had huge ramifications last week for gold. Gold exploded because of that big move down in the dollar, and gold also above that 50 DMA. So interesting to watch what may be happening with gold and other commodities in reaction to the dollar. You can see oil up slightly. UNG, I don't know what's driving this. Didn't get a chance to do research on what's driving UNG, but UNG is just crazy volatile. It's just all over the place every day anyway, so kind of not unexpected. MP, this is part of that new FANG. It's the G Gold and Minerals. This is the rare earth minerals. Really like MP. They had earnings last week, and I didn't get any of that. This is on my watch list. I was looking at like puts to sell on this, so that continues to be on my watch list over here. Got a nice support, it looks like, at around $26 to $28, holding really well this year. So along with the good earnings, so MP looking good. Like to pick some up. Square right at resistance right now at that 50 DMA. They got an upgrade this morning from, was it Susquehanna? Or a couple on BMO. BMO raises price target to 120. So that's interesting to see a price target increase. I haven't seen one of those price target increases in a long time in the tech sector. Square gets one this morning. So, all right, that's all I have prepared, but let's go back and look to see if anything came through since let's go back to 8:50 a.m. That's when I was rushing into the office and missed the newsfeed. So ATVI, I know they're being bought by Microsoft. Let's see if there's any. Oh, it's interesting. What's our friend's name? Kramer. Jim Kramer, actually, that's not here, but Jim Kramer said, stay away from BTU. It's going up too much. So you know what to do, guys. Inverse ETF coming up for Kramer. All right. SAVA Sciences reports third quarter. This is a wildly volatile stock, SAVA. I don't know that well. And this is over 650 patients enrolled in phase 3 clinical program of Alzheimer's disease. Highly shorted stock, and that goes on crazy runs. And who knows? I don't trade this, but have it on watch, mostly because of the sentiment impact it could have with INMB. So that's the story. And for today, we'll have to monitor BTU. I really like, obviously, the price action, the news. Are there going to be opportunities to increase my position or maybe take some off the table? We'll have to see. Rum. Okay, I forgot to say, Rum, I think now is kind of heading to the 15s. I called this last week, and it looks like it's ready to happen. This is 1350 resistance. Remember, I sold some at 1345. I didn't reload, unfortunately, but I have more shares to sell. So this is still the range I've been talking about holds 5 to 15. So as we get closer to 15, I'm a seller, and I will hope for more opportunities, and I think we're going to get them, more opportunities to buy this when it sells off. So interesting there, price action on Rum. I'll be looking to maybe sell AIAD on a pop, and maybe THS. I'll be looking to maybe step into that, maybe with short puts, CLFD, short puts. We'll see ADM, hoping for that move to 105, but got to have patience. Looking to sell TGB on a move to 130. So we'll see what happens, and we'll have to monitor to see if other opportunities present themselves. And with that, I wish you farewell. We'll communicate in the chat room wrap at 4 p.m. And if you're watching the replay here at 4 p.m. on YouTube, you can sign up for a free trial at StoryTrading.com, 7-day risk-free trial. And I'll see you guys around. Thanks for joining. And where's our outro? There it is.